Welcome to this third video on the language of research. In this video, we are going to discuss about time in research. Time and tide wait for none. How good is it for research? Let's find out. In terms of time, any research study could be a longitudinal study or it could be a cross-sectional study. When we say cross-sectional study, it is about one shot measurement. So you have your survey to be filled by respondent at a given point of time, and you record responses and later on you analyze them. So the research study which takes place at a single point on time is called cross-sectional study, whereas longitudinal is something which takes place over time. So there are multiple waves of measurement. You have first wave, you have second wave, you have third wave, and so on. So at least you have two waves and often more waves of measurement in longitudinal studies. It's very important to further distinguish longitudinal designs based on the frequency of measurement. If you have just two or a few waves of measurement, then it's better to call that design as repeated measure design. So you should avoid calling it as longitudinal. Rather, there is a term repeated measure design. So when you are to do like that, you could use this term. Longitudinal design refers to basically time series design, where you have many waves of measurement, let's say 20 waves or 30 waves or 50 waves of measurement, and far more. So basically when you say economic data, let's say economic data, you are assessing let's say GDP of a country, and let's say you are analyzing GDP of a country for 3 decades or 5 decades. So how that thing is happening for 50 years, how economy is performing, and how is it going that way, that's something which is you are covering in time series studies. Repeated measure, however, you have, let's say you introduce a program or intervention, let's say a training program in the classroom, and the teacher wishes to know that whether the training program has actually helped her students learn better, master the concepts. Let's say students were assessed on their grammatical skills, how much they know about grammar, and then a set of students attended training program. So they have pre-scores, before the training program is being administered, they have pre-scores, and after the training is completed, they again take up test and they have post scores. So pre-scores versus post score, you could make out that whether training program actually helped students to learn better. So that would be under repeated measure studies. So researchers, you should be careful while mentioning in your research projects that whether it is going to be longitudinal design or repeated measure design. So if it is more like 2, 3, 4 waves of measurement, it's better to use repeated measurement. However, if you are extensively working on secondary data, which is spanning, the data is spanning into, let's say, running into decades, or tens of years, or 20, 30, 40 years, or 50 years, or 100 years, then it is definitely time series data. So one shot study is your cross-sectional. So time identify research as cross-sectional and longitudinal, that is the most in the most broad categories. You have two broad categories to identify, cross-sectional or longitudinal. But yes, say in practice we discuss it like this. We have three categories. So in longitudinal we say repeated measure studies are one set, where two or more or a few waves of measurement, whereas economic data is spreading over 20-30 years is time series. So this is all in this lecture. We'll explore more in days to come. So keep watching, and if you haven't subscribed our channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.